Hello YouTube users out there, this is Frederick Lopez, aka the Dark Knight of Steel, and I just want to discuss my next movie project I'm working on. Now, if you may not know on my channel page, I want to become a film director. And one thing that kind of fascinated me is the stories of how people like Steven Spielberg or George Lucas became film directors, and what film schools did they go to, what short films they made, all that type of stuff. And it occurred to me, on anybody really, you always hear stories about how a person becomes what they become, but you never actually get to see it. And that is what kind of brings me to my next project I'm working on, which is going to be kind of like a monthly blog, so to speak, or and it'll be compiled later into a film. I'm going to make a documentary about basically me becoming a film director before I'm a film director. So you kind of get to see early insights of like my creative mind, and then movie ideas I'm working on for the future. And then you kind of see me going through film school, and then going through classes, and then graduating college and getting a degree, Bachelor of Fine Arts in film directing, and have the movie in there. But I thought instead of having to wait 2 or 3 years, so to speak, just to show you that, it'd be good to kind of show you each stage and evolution that it took for me to get there. You can see from beginning to end how I became a film director. And usually people don't get to see that evolution take place in a person. It's almost like the old Tim Burton Batmans, how you just saw Bruce Wayne as Batman already, but like Batman Begins, you got to see who Bruce Wayne was, the whole evolution that took place for it in order for him to basically be Batman, in order to show his face, so to speak, of who he is. And that is what I want to do with my new documentary slash monthly blog, is to make a documentary of sorts to show who I am, basically. And this project of mine is going to be called From Dreamer to Director, basically. In there I'll show my movie ideas I'm working on, like that teaser I showed earlier. It's on my YouTube page. Point of view. Now I might not get to make that. And there's some other ideas that I really want to make into a film, but I might have to wait till after film school, only because of budget and basically, in all honesty, lack of experience. I need to basically be experienced. I've only made one short film and a couple of music videos, and then mostly with my editing on YouTube. I just want to kind of have experience into that. But I basically wanted to show my creative mind, and then show, I'm going to be a different type of filmmaker. Like, I can use medium shot, establishment, long shot, but I want to show my ideas the way I see them in my head. So basically have them in my head and then make the audience see how I see it. So it wouldn't really be traditional filmmaking, so to speak. I mean, it would be, but then it'd be like a hybrid of something else entirely, which I do not know of yet. And that is my project I'm working on. And then a couple of announcements. I'm going to have a couple more videos. Now, I did that one as video, Smallville. I always wanted to do a non-English music video. My next one would probably be a special tribute, but that won't be till April or May, with High and Mighty Color, Japanese music. And yes, I make it a point to learn the language and then the lyrics and everything, so it wouldn't just be like, okay, a couple of images on a foreign song to me. It'd have to do with what the song is about and the emotion the scenes bring from that. Then I'd make one more special Miami Vice tribute that's really, really action-packed and kind of shows the darker side of Vice, unlike my other one called True Vice from New Order, The True Faith. And then I will have what I'm going to call here, I'm a big Batman fan, especially of the Batman animated series, a definitive Batman music video that's going to cover Batman animated series, Justice League, and Batman Beyond in its chronological order, like straight through. I have a special video on that end. There's a couple of songs I'm looking at for that, but one of them you would really, really know. And it's from a Batman soundtrack, so that's all I'm going to give away there. That's going to come out soon. But yeah, I just wanted to let you know heads up of what I'm working on and what type of project. It just really fascinates me to see the evolution of a person. It's almost like character transformations and what that person had to go through in order to accomplish. And I already know how I'm going to end this documentary once it's all said and done when I graduate. I already have the ending. Already it's in my mind. I just need to film it when the moment happens and I have the song and everything. So, I know what to do there. And, okay, I might as well just give it away. Because you're not going to see it for a couple of years, but I'm going to end it with me graduating, going on to film school, kind of like a Judd, not the fist thing from Breakfast Club, but like a Judd Nelson thing, and then basically have my favorite song of all time, Everybody Wants to Rule the World by Tears for Fears. It kind of leaves it open-ended. And then you get to see my films. So I have 2 or 3 projects I want to make, and as a film director, I want to work with studios, but then if I have an independent company or like a production company, I want to like take a couple of years off, not just have like one project, but I like to work on 3 projects at the same time, so you have like, instead of waiting year after year, and I don't know, that might be easier said than done, because films are a really tenacious process to make. They're very tenacious to make. It's like pulling teeth with some of them, and some of them are a breeze, and you never know with the filmmaking process, but I'd like to have like 3 or 4 films by me like each year, but not like right simultaneously, like have like one in summer and then it's like December. Before that, have it like in March. Then, or maybe just have one at a time, and then once the sequels to some of those films pop up, they do. And then I like to do all types of films direct. So it'd be westerns. I like to bring the western back, but if I do make a western, I'm going to bring an edge to it. Not like over the top gore or anything, but like edge that the edge that Tombstone had, or the remake to 310 to Yuma, that type of edge, or basically like the video game gun in the video game Red Dead Redemption, that type of edge. I like to do sci-fi, crime films, definitely something about crime, just detectives. I like to bring a Miami Vice type of feel to it that has style yet substance, that is just really rocks, awesome soundtrack. It just has style. The closest thing to Miami Vice I would say is probably Burn Notice, but still, it's not the same. Then, if I do it like on a criminal or a gangster, so to speak, a crime movie, I like that because it brings kind of a Shakespearean tragedy to it. There's always a weakness of the character. He tries to keep everything in balance, and it's almost like an eye for an eye type of thing. Like basically, if you live by the sword, you're going to die by the sword, that type of morality to the gangster. Then, action movies, most definitely. Original movies I like to make. And then, after Twilight dies down, I like to make a freaking hardcore vampire film, like the most definitive vampire film. I already have the story. Have it, and I don't know, by the time I make this, it might be rated R, but I would say have it NC-17. But that might be the new R in 20 years, who knows. But that's what I would do, and it'd be really, really good. Have like a whole bunch of rock music and stuff like that. And then, if I do make movies based on something, I wouldn't mind making a film off of Anne Rice's The Vampire Chronicles. Now, I'm glad Ron Howard and Brian Grazer have the rights to make Tale the Body Thief, but I wouldn't want to remake Interview with the Vampire, because the first one's so good that I feel like I screw it up, unless it's like a miniseries. But I wouldn't mind making The Vampire Lestat. That one needs to get made, because in my honest, humble opinion, that is the Godfather Part 2 of vampire novels. Seriously. I mean, seriously. That novel is just amazing. Another one would be a Legacy of Kain series. I wouldn't mind making those. Another adaptation would be Grand Theft Auto Vice City, but I don't know, Ray Liotta might be too old by the time I get to make that. But if I did do it, I wouldn't call it Grand Theft Auto. I'd just call the movie Vice City, because most people just call it that anyway. Be like, okay, have you played Vice City? Yeah, so that. And then, Gargoyles from Disney. Now, I heard they're making one, so I don't know if it's going to be like the series, but I would make that from the TV show. Gargoyles, most definitely. Definitely, definitely, definitely. Then there's Reboot, and I wouldn't mind doing Johnny Quest, but not him as a little kid, like the New Adventures where he's a teenager, that type of Johnny Quest. And then I don't know how the Superman movie's going to be, but I wouldn't mind doing a Superman trilogy. Now, I might not have the same villains. At first I was thinking Brainiac in the first one. When I was little, it was like Lex Luthor and then Brainiac. And then the second one had like General Zod, but I don't know, he's been kind of overdone, so it's Lex Luthor. But definitely, if that ever goes to a third film and like the final chapter of a trilogy, I would have Darkseid. Most definitely. Call it Superman Armageddon. Just have like, or maybe Superman Apocalypse. Just have like the Superman emblem, like rocks crumbling. Just has like a hot lava type thing on the cover and like the Superman symbols crumbling down. Have that as like the end. Almost like the passive from A Perfect Circle. That album cover shows all the city like a debris, like all post-apocalyptic. That would be really cool for a third, final act. And I wouldn't mind doing horror movies. Horror movies are good. And then anything based off a comic. I wouldn't mind making it The Shadow into a movie, or even doing a Justice League. I don't know if I wouldn't mind doing The Shadow though, The Shadow, or even Highlander. I would do Highlander because I tell you one thing that is missing from all the sequels compared to the first. And even though they're not the best storylines, what would have made them 100% better was having the Queen soundtrack. All you need to have is Prince of the Universe with Queen, and then once you have that, you pretty much are home free. Besides a good story, of course, but like really, that's when you know if somebody's going to be on the right track, if they're faithful to the original. And as an example, just look at Highlander, the TV show, compared to Highlander, the movies, and then compared to the first. That one had Prince of the Universe in it by Queen. And ended up going on 6 seasons. But yeah, that's what I would do. So I'll be doing that. It might not be every single month because like I'm kind of at a standstill right now. But every other month, if not every month, do a blog. And I might just do blogs, maybe just me talking about movies or just life, really. That's what I would do. So, keep an eye out for that on my new segment on the Dark Knight of Steel's channel, From Dreamer to Director by Frederick Lopez.